Welcome everyone to week 5 of the box score. Connor joined as always by Aiden, Remo, Danko, and Jack. And Jack, I understand that you got pulled over for about the eighth time in your life.
Seventh time, it's Connor. Seventh time, but yes,
Seven.
I did. I was driving home from college. We're remote now, and we're driving, going 80 miles an hour. Not even going fast. 80 miles an hour.
What's the speed
That's
limit?
like what?
What's the speed limit?
65.
That's above the speed limit.
85 is standard. I mean, you guys drive 80 on the highway. Come on.
Yeah, I
No,
agree.
I abide by the law. I like to stay under the speed limit.
All right, well,
Yeah, I think 85 max is.
Yeah, that's a fair speed, Jack.
yeah. So I'm driving, and I cops sitting there, camping, and I get pulled over, and I'm like, oh fuck, 7 times, yeah. And luckily, I got off. He didn't give me a ticket. He
New
was a nice
York?
guy.
Were you in New Jersey or New York?
New York.
Ooh, okay.
But these cops, they terrorize the innocent people. They're not even defund the police. Don't defund the police. Defund the traffic police that prey on the innocent people just driving, going from work to home. It's wrong. It's a crime.
Well, I mean,
It's all about. They need money. They need the
well,
money.
the thing is how do they know you're innocent? I mean, you drive an '08 Jeep. It's also green. So, I mean, they think it's a crackhead when they see you driving down the highway
They're
going 85
discriminating.
miles per
You're
hour.
part of the problem.
I'm part of the problem?
Yeah.
Well, I saw something the other day that they haven't raised the speed limit since like 1945.
They haven't, and it's ridiculous.
And
No,
the only reason is so that they can make money off of giving people tickets. That's the only reason.
No, exactly. They're lowering.
It's a crime, and it's something needs to change.
I mean, we look at the Autobahn in Germany. I mean, no accents there. Everyone just
We're not driving paddy wagons anymore. People are in Teslas that go 0 to 60 in 0.2 seconds.
They don't
We
even.
got to move.
They just sit
I
there
would
and play
I
Mario
would just
Kart.
like to say I have never been pulled over. So it's really not
Really?
that.
You drive like a bitch. You don't. I've seen you drive.
He is a bitch.
I'm just a cautious driver. I don't like to get pulled over. So, I don't think it's that
Well,
hard.
driving fast doesn't mean you're not cautious. I'm cautious. I look around at my surroundings.
I agree. Sometimes it's better to drive fast because if you're driving too slow, you might cause an accident by
Yeah,
driving.
no, right.
Traffic's got to move.
Gotta follow the flow of traffic.
And speaking of really fast things, Lamar Jackson once again losing in a primetime big game, and he really just—I know it was raining. He didn't play that bad, but really strange to see the Patriots come back after the couple weird losses.
Well, I appreciate that segue, and I think that was very slick of you.
Thank you.
And this game, this is under the table for Lamar. This game's a wash. I mean, first of all, it's in Foxborough. It was a monsoon out. I think Belichick in those conditions totally controlled the flow of the game. I mean, Lamar didn't play awful. He didn't play awful. It definitely wasn't his worst game. Do I think the Ravens are title contenders?
This answered that question. No, they're not. I used to think they were. They were actually in my preseason Super Bowl prediction. They're not anymore. You can't come out and play like that against an inferior opponent. So they put themselves in a big hole, and now they're 3 games back from the division. So I think they even screwed themselves. And quite frankly, they're the 7th seed right now. So they're in a lot of trouble. They're
I'm going
tied.
to disagree with that because those are the games for the Ravens and Lamar. Those are the games you have to win. Like, I get it, Foxborough, Bill Belichick's defense, I get. But as Lamar, a team in the record that they have, you can't lose those games. And I'm not looking forward to the outcome that they have. I think it's going to be rough.
I actually would have to 100% agree with Danko in the fact that watching the game, I wasn't unimpressed by Lamar. I mean, the receivers dropped a bunch of balls that they should have caught. There was literally a monsoon on his last possession. You literally couldn't see anything.
It was a monsoon for the Patriots too.
No, but it got worse in the final possession. And just to me, they weren't going to win the division anyways. Now they're not. Now they put the focus on, and who knows? Come playoff time, honestly, anything this NFL season, I wouldn't be surprised by anything. So who knows? I wouldn't discount them from making a run. I definitely wouldn't put them in my top 3 of teams to make the Super Bowl, but I don't think this game changes anything. I think they have time to right the ship for sure.
I mean, I think this game, once again, I know Lamar didn't play his worst game, but it reinforces the fact that Lamar can't do anything against a real defense like that. And the Patriots haven't even been that good, first of all, this year. But Bill Belichick, great game plan. And when you force Lamar to have to throw the ball, he is not that effective. When you
Play
shut
bad.
down
He
the
had
run,
2 touchdowns. He didn't play bad.
he didn't play bad, but he didn't do enough to win. And you can blame the team around him. But again, this keeps happening to the Ravens in big games. And I would say this is a big game because they had to win it. And I think the Patriots once again exposed Lamar.
Well,
It's
I
gonna.
think it might be time to put what we put on Aaron Rodgers on Lamar Jackson. I mean, the man is throwing to Willie Snead, Devin Duvernay,
I'm actually I'll see that argument. I see it.
because Hollywood
I do agree with that.
Hollywood Brown's his best receiver, but
Well,
he's not good. I mean, he's
Hollywood Brown. He's
He's
awful.
good. He's
No,
good.
he's not good. He's not good at all. He's awful.
I saw he can't run.
Not, he's a good receiver.
He can't get open. He's
Can't get
worthless. Willie
can't get
Snead's a better receiver.
Well, where's Des Bryant?
Braxton
Where's
Berrios
Dez?
playing
They
the
need to
best
bring
part.
out Dez, honestly.
I got him sitting in my bench in fantasy. I want to play him. Fuck.
Might as well. I mean, they don't surround Lamar with like great receivers, like you said. I don't think these receivers can barely get open as it is. Like Marquise Brown was complaining that Lamar wasn't throwing the ball the other day,
Yeah.
and he's really only a deep threat. Like he really needs to expand his route tree, and I think that's a big problem for the Ravens. They're really one dimensional.
On the route where Lamar threw that interception, literally he just ran like this. And then tried to – I mean, you're not going to get open like that.
He's not a great route runner at all.
I'm
All
also,
their
like,
entire
not a
offense is
fan.
But the
predicated-
difference between Lamar and Aaron still, like, he finds a way to make Alan Lazard.
I agree.
Like, Lamar doesn't have that ability. I don't think he ever will. So that's why
Well,
you can't compare.
I didn't come into this comparing Lamar to Rodgers, but I don't think this.
I was
game-
talking to Aiden. He's the one that.
No, I'm not comparing them, but I think at least Rodgers has Devontae Adams. Lamar doesn't have a receiver that can consistently get open. Like
That Paired with the fact that Lamar cannot read a defense, I think
I'm not saying that Lamar has issues of his own, but I think it is difficult to watch when it's Willie Snead and Marquise Brown, who really can't do much.
The running backs are also kind of useless too. Just
Yeah.
Ingram and J.K. Dobbins.
JK is going to be good, but I just don't. Their offense is not impressive at all.
it's
Well,
just
coming off of last year, they had the best running game in the league, which is surprising.
like
Everybody, I think Lamar kind of took the league by storm, and that kind of opened up everything else because everybody went in saying, "How are we going to stop Lamar from running?" And then he would just throw it over the top to Hollywood Brown. But now teams know how to stop him, so he kind of needs to develop more of a passing game, maybe get some weapons, and then he obviously has a lot of years ahead of him. But
Yeah, I mean that's why this year I think for the Ravens, it's pretty much a wash in terms of really making a run at the Super Bowl because, again, against the top defenses, all you have to do is shut down the Ravens' run game, and they're done. They're not going to win the game. So, but does anybody think the Patriots have any shot at making a playoff run here, or are they too far behind?
not in the AFC. There's
Watch out for next year.
I do.
no, don't watch out for next year because the way they're playing right now, they're going to end up 7-9, 8-8. They're going to have to settle further. They won't be able to get Fields. They won't be able to get Lawrence, and I doubt they're going to keep Cam.
I think they will. I think they'll keep Cam.
Cam should not be on a roster next year. He is.
I don't know if they keep.
Cam, like, he's never gonna. He's never gonna win anything. Honestly, like he's
Yeah, no,
done.
Belichick's not going to sign Cam again, unless it's for a veterans minimum. He's not going to be on that team. I think the Patriots winning games is hurting them more than it's helping them right now because they're not making the playoffs because you still got the Browns, still got the Raiders and the Dolphins. They're all fighting for that last spot,
And the Colts and Titans.
and the Colts, and the Titans.
Yeah, so I do.
It's actually a shift to the Titans right now because I mean the Ravens now play the Titans this week, and the Titans laid an egg at home against the Colts on Thursday night. And in my opinion, that was the best game that the Colts have played all year. That's like a big statement game to tie up the division this late in the season already.
Yeah, I mean, again, I still think the Titans are going to end up winning this division. Now, that did not help them. I was very surprised with how the Colts came out and played in that game. But it shows what they can be when Phil Rivers doesn't turn the ball over. Because the Colts' defense, especially their run defense, is very good. And Derrick Henry ran for over 100 rushing yards, but is Derrick Henry. And they did enough to limit They did enough to limit what the Titans were
That
doing.
comment, it hit the wrong spot, didn't it?
They did enough to limit the Titans in that game, and I feel like Ryan Tannehill's true colors are coming out here. People were arguing he might be an MVP contender a few weeks ago. Not even close. The guy cannot get it done when you force him to just drop back and pass. It's just
Well, may I just say that this is further proving that the Steelers do not have a good win on the season. The Ravens continue to lose. The Titans are continuing to lose. They don't have a good
What
win.
do you want this team to do?
We'll talk about that later. We'll talk. We'll talk.
Anytime Aiden could get a rip at the Steelers, even when it's like barely even related, you're gonna have to
Let me just say,
throw a jab right at the Steelers. I mean, if we're talking about the Colts and Titans, I think that the Colts defense played a major role in that game. And although Derrick Henry did rush for a lot of rushing yards, I think
It didn't look like it. It wasn't impactful yards.
the yards meant nothing. The yards meant nothing to that game, and I think it's showing that come playoff time and the end of the season when it gets colder, I think that defense is going to show more than offense.
I agree. Well, I don't believe in Phil at all.
neither
Like,
do
I know he didn't turn the ball over, but Phillip Rivers, we all know he's not a playoff guy. He can't play in playoff games, and I don't see him bringing the Colts anywhere, really.
That's why I think the Colts missed the playoffs, because as good as they looked in that game, Phillip Rivers, when he throws downfield, he is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league as it currently stands. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league throwing downfield. He makes mistakes. He didn't throw the ball downfield in that game. Like, Michael Pittman looked good. I don't think the receiving core is anything good at all besides him. I think he's an up-and-coming star in this league. But I think Phillip Rivers will be the reason the Colts missed the playoffs. And once again, it'll be the quarterback problem for the Colts. So I think
And again, they're another team that has a running back by committee. I mean, it's just whoever has the hot hand. It can be Taylor, it can be Naeem Hines, it can be Jordan Wilkins.
Hines played good.
I know you were mad about that, Connor, seeing that big game.
Third round pick in fantasy this year. Another.
Well, that was just idiotic. I mean, regardless of how good Jonathan Taylor was, way too early.
I thought Jonathan Taylor was going to be a good, very viable fantasy starter considering that offensive line. I mean, Taylor looks like the worst back.
Got hurt, and
Taylor's the worst back out of all those three. Even with Marlon Mack not there, Taylor looks awful.
I agree.
I don't know.
He doesn't look awful.
Marlon Mack did rush for 100,000 yards.
Terrible.
Well, I'm looking here at the Colts schedule, and it isn't very good. They're going to lose to the Packers. Titans.
Are they though? Hold on. I wouldn't say that.
No, that the Packers only beat the Jags by 4.
Okay, fine. But I mean, they play the Raiders, the Titans, and the Packers, and the Steelers. Those are 4 games, maybe. So they could end if Phil, like Remo said, if Rivers plays like shit, I could see them losing all those games. If he steps up, I could also see them winning those games. So really, who knows? I guess is what I'm saying.
Go on, Phil.
Yeah,
Go on, Phil.
I actually wanted to bring up the Jaguars for just a second. I think that we can all agree that if Gardner Minshew started that game, they wouldn't have been as close as they were to the Packers. And that's just my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but
I think him and Luton would have done the same exact thing.
I think they're pretty equal.
We haven't talked about it much on this show, and it cannot be left unspoken anymore. This undrafted rookie, James Robinson, what he is doing is amazing. Is it not? He's going to have the most yards by any undrafted rookie. He's absolutely incredible.
I'm not surprised in the least. Watching him in college, he went to an FCS school and he put up big numbers. He rushed for over 2,000 yards in his final season. The only reason he went undrafted is because he went to a small school. But he was dependable in college, and I had a feeling that if he got the chance, he'd be good in the NFL, and he's proven it. So, that's a bright spot for the Jags. Him and DJ Chark, I think, could be a good future for them.
And Laviska Shenault is also.
Yes, he could be solid. He'll be solid. They have to work on the defense, though. It's a big issue back there.
I mean, yeah, Jaguars. No need to really speak of them in my opinion. But
I mean, yeah,
them and the Texans are in the depths of despair down in that division.
The worst part about the Texans, I just want to briefly mention this. The Texans don't have a first-round pick, so they're pretty much going to be absolute shit for nothing because they're getting nothing.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien basically. I know Jack watches Survivor. Bill O'Brien basically took all the rice and threw it in the fire, and then got voted out and left. That's
I'm very impressed with that analogy. That's good.
Then he screwed him over. So they'll be. I feel bad for Deshaun. So they're gonna have
Romeo Crennel, the interim head coach, with absolute garbo. A 72-year-old man. I mean, no 72-year-old man.
Yeah, that guy's an old fuck. He doesn't even know what the read option is. So
Hey, Pete Carroll's almost in his 70s.
Yeah, almost, but he's not. Okay.
He's 70 years young. Okay, that's a difference.
And honestly, we can segue this right into the Seahawks. What? Sorry, Connor.
No. I'm like saying like the Seahawks. Like
Pete. I'm not really that impressed with Pete Carroll. If I'm going to be 100%.
no.
It's not Pete.
It's not.
It's not Pete. It's not Russ. Who is it?
No, let me
It's
finish.
not Pete. It's not Russ. It's the defense and the O-line.
No.
Jamal Adams is rated like the 67th safety or something.
I think it's higher.
He's fucking terrible. He's just retired. The Jets got a fucking bargain for that trade. Everyone's saying the Jets lost that trade. They fucking won it. Jamal Adams is a scrub. And when you look at the Seahawks' upcoming schedule, they got Arizona. If they can win that game Thursday night, and that'll be a statement game, especially in the division. Philly, easy win. Giants, easy win. Jets,
Hey, don't count my G-men out.
Giants is not an easy win.
I would not see it.
Giants is easy win. Giants is easy win. Come on. And Washington, they can realistically win the next 5 games. Realistically. I mean, if they get their O-line somehow functional. And this is without Chris Carson. I mean, who's running? D.D. Dallas? Whatever the fuck his name is?
Alex Dallas, okay?
Who do I don't even know?
Alex Collins actually returned from the dead.
I will stand up for Russ. As long as he's the quarterback for the Seahawks.
If you're standing up for Russ, I will sit down for Russ and debate you on this. While a lot of the other losses that they've had, actually no. Every loss that they've had has been because of him. If we're gonna say let
It's
Russ
not because of him. It's
no,
the
let me speak. If we're gonna say let Russ cook, and when they win, it's Russ is amazing. Well, then when they lose, it has to be a little bit on Russ. And the defense only let up 23 points. It's not like the Rams scored 35 and the Seahawks scored 34. I mean, the Seahawks offense looked abysmal, if I'm going to be quite honest.
You're half right. Russ, listen, the past couple of weeks, he's had too many turnovers. Just to say, I hate to say he's had way too many turnovers, but at the same time, the team forces him to do it himself. They don't help him out very much. With him defense, that goes right. The O-line is not good. And, it's either one week, DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett. Both of them need to step up at the same time. Because, like, DK, he got shut down. And it's got to be good at the same time.
I love DK, and he's going to be really good in the future. But Danko, the fact that you even have him in your top 5 receivers is embarrassing because he got out.
Well, Jalen Ramsey's the best cornerback in football by far. I think the Rams have the best. The Rams have arguably one of the.
Oh, let me stop you right there. It's still Stephon Gilmore. I don't care how bad the Pats are. Still
no, it's not.
Alexander.
No, it's not. It's Jalen Ramsey. It's Aaron Donald's the best pass rusher, and don't overlook the secondary.
Okay, yeah, thanks. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but the thing is that I said it last week. I said that the problem for the Seahawks in this game will be the pressure, and also if you shut down DK Metcalf, which is what the Rams are best at doing, is shutting down the opposing team's number 1 wide receiver, that would be a struggle for the Seahawks. The Seahawks don't match up well against the Rams. But I think that the Seahawks against the Cardinals, it's going to be a bounce back. I think
I'm sorry. I'll let you speak, Remo. I know you haven't gotten into this yet. I just want to make one last statement about Russ. And again, Russ is great. But there comes a time where we can argue that he's not that amazing because when DK gets locked up, he has bad games. He got locked up against the Cardinals. He threw 3 picks. He got locked up against the Rams. He had 4 turnovers. Maybe it's not DK does good because of Russ. Is it possible it's Russ does good because of DK?
Well, no, because Russ has been doing good for the last 9 years without.
Yeah, but he continuously falls off. He continuously starts great and falls off.
That is what I was going to talk about. Nobody has mentioned yet. I blame John Schneider. That is the Seahawks GM. How do you only have 1 Super Bowl in these 9 years with with a generational talent in Russell Wilson. Okay, when they had the best defense, one of the best defenses of all time with the Legion of Boom, they didn't build around Russ on offense. Besides, they had a few pieces here and there. Doug Baldwin didn't have a great receiving core at all.
They made back-to-back Super Bowls. You can't hate on John Schneider for that.
So I do hate on John Schneider because they would have won 2, maybe 3 Super Bowls if they built an offense when they had that defense. Now they have an offense which is a very good offense, and they can't build a defense. They have, I think, the worst defense in the league, and I think it's terrible what they've done. I think it's complete mismanagement by the front office for the Seahawks. I mean, don't get me wrong; they're still dangerous. They're a dangerous team, but they're not doing anything in the playoffs with the worst secondary I've seen in years. They really are.
If they lose to the Cardinals on Thursday and the Vikings win, which they will because they're playing the Cowboys, the Vikings are only 1 game back of the Seahawks for the playoffs.
And the Vikings play the I forgot who it is, but the Vikings have a pretty easy schedule.
Yeah, no, I think it's Dallas, then Carolina, then Cincinnati, I think.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Dolphins can win their next. I mean, not Dolphins. Vikings can win their next 3 games.
But the Vikings aren't. I don't think the Vikings are making the playoffs by any means.
The Vikings have Cowboys, Panthers, Jags. That's 3 wins.
Oh,
I think they might lose to the Panthers too. They're like a sneaky team. Like
I don't know. The Vikings are hot. I'm liking what
they're
they're
hot.
But the Seahawks got to worry. If they don't win this week, it's panic time in Seattle.
I don't. I mean, kind of. But I can't see the Vikings making the playoffs over them. To be honest.
You know, it's not panic time. Like I said earlier, even if they lose against the Cardinals, they have Philly, Giants, and Jets, and Washington right after.
I'm sorry. Giants is not an automatic win. They are full of surprises. I don't want to hear about it.
I agree.
Hey, you love the Giants so much. Talk about their last game against Philly.
Well, this just shows what kind of man Daniel Jones is going to be in the future. Last 2 games, turnovers, none of them. And this just how he's improving, the work he's putting in. He's got the best work ethic of any quarterback in the league, maybe besides Russ, because Russ puts it over. But Daniel Jones, I hope they don't draft a QB in the offseason if they have a bad record, because I trust this man. I do. But just watch. Who the Giants play this week? Who do they play?
They have a bye, and then they play Cincinnati off of the bye.
Cincinnati. All right. Joe Burrow can't hang with my man Danny Dimes. So that's a win.
He's already better than Daniel Jones, but like I don't know what you're so high on about Daniel Jones. Okay, he has his moments here and there, but he's also a prime reason why they are. What are they, 3-7 right now? He's a prime reason they weren't able to finish some of those games.
Saying that, but it's not all on him.
Not all on him, but he's a prime reason. You're missing what I'm saying. You can't say that he's not to blame at all. I mean, come on, he
definitely is. But don't listen. There are some games that they should have won, and it should have been him leading them to the win. But maybe there's 2 or 3.
There are 2 games they definitely should have won if they had a competent quarterback. Let me just say that.
Oh, he's confident.
You can't call him not a competent quarterback.
If Evan Ingram catches the ball, then they're 2-0 against the Eagles this year and in first place.
He's not competent in the big situations.
Connor actually brought up a great point right there. He would have beat the Eagles twice if he laid it right in there for Evan Ingram. And look at some of their losses. They lost to the Bucs, a possible Super Bowl.
Which, by the way, that's another game they should have won if Daniel Jones was able to come up clutch.
And that's besides the point. It's his second year. They played the Bucs very close, as Connor said. The Steelers, they lost to the Steelers by 10. They're right there. I mean,
the way I see it, they should be undefeated. That Steelers game, they should have won. They should be the best team in the fucking league.
The one game that they lost was truly against the 49ers. Every other game they've been very competitive.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Wait, what did Daniel Jones do in the Steelers game? He had a great drive going, and then he throws a pick to a defensive tackle. So, like,
second year,
he always blows it.
I'm sorry. I'm sick of giving up on quarterbacks quickly. I genuinely think in the NFL you can develop when I feel bad for players like Josh Rosen and Dwayne.
I do too.
I just feel like they don't get Daniel Jones shows promise. He's won a couple games. The last 2 games he's looked great. I think he'll go out and beat the Bengals. You got to stick with him. You have to stick with him.
I said it.
I actually
do episodes ago. He's coming off the COVID offseason with a new coach, second year, his first game against the best defense in the league. He had a lot of things against him. He played great that game. Besides the ending, I know he turned it over, but he had a lot of promise in that game.
And his star running back gave him -5 yards. He really didn't have anything to work with. He got shut down.
Well, I was going to say the Giants can't give up on Daniel Jones because they made the mistake of drafting him. So now you got to stick with him for at least 3 years.
That wasn't a mistake.
It was a mistake drafting him with 6th overall. They could have got him 17th.
Look,
The Broncos were going to get him at like 13 or whatever pick they were. They had insider information.
They were absolutely not going to take him.
Yes, they were. They were going to take him. You got to do your research.
What do you mean do my research? They took Drew Lock in the 2nd round. They were content with that. I mean, come on. Like
After they drafted Daniel Jones, of course they had to take Drew Lock.
And look at Drew Lock now. He's terrible.
he's been bad too, but like
Drew Lock on the Broncos.
Drew Lock, horrible. Daniel
The
Jones.
Broncos, who knows what the Broncos would be right now?
But, I actually just wanted to read the Giants' remaining schedule. So they have the bye and then the Bengals, and then the next 4 games are really, really critical. The Seahawks on the road,
Win.
Arizona, Cleveland, and then Baltimore. So
I mean, that screams over.
Cleveland, definitely, that's going to be close.
No, Cleveland will be a win. Cleveland will be a win.
No, the Cleveland's not bad. That's another thing I want to say. The Browns have a legitimate shot at making the playoffs.
No,
and actually,
the Browns.
I like firmly believe that they can beat the Ravens. I don't know why. I just feel like they can.
I get that.
When you put up 10 points against the Texans.
No, well, first of all, if you're watching that game, the game flow, the way the wind was in that game, the wind was a major factor.
The weather was a big factor.
There was a weather delay in that.
Yeah, but they still put up 6 points against the Raiders.
First of all, and if you're going to complain that they only put up 10 points against the Texans, Nick Chubb, that motherfucker. I had Browns -4. Nick Chubb gets a runaway at the end of the game. He runs out of bounds at the 1-yard line.
My fantasy team. When I saw
Who
that.
does that?
I wanted to vomit when I saw
I
that.
thought it was a genius move, if I'm going to be quite honest.
Oh, I thought it's fucking bullshit. I think you should know the spread if you're a player. I mean, come on. Fucking bet on your own game.
But that's what I was gonna say. Chubb and Kareem Hunt look amazing as a dynamic duo. They're the best dynamic duo in the league in terms of running backs right now. They really are.
Yeah, no, they're a great company.
If that's
Hey, Wayne Goldman and Alfred Morris.
Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison is pretty good too.
Well, I'll say 2 things back to the Giants. And there's no bias from this because I'm a Jet fan. I hate the Giants with all my heart. Speaking of heart, I do think that the Giants play with a lot of heart, and I could see some heartbreaking games coming in the future. I think that the Giants, they can win against Cincinnati, and then they'll be tied for the lead in the division. Then who knows? Oh, watch out! Daniel Jones will choke.
yes.
One game or the other, Daniel Jones will choke a few of those games, and it will be devastating to watch as a Giants fan.
You see,
And another point I have is that Saquon Barkley might be one of the most overrated players in the NFL. Wayne Gallman is putting up the same numbers.
He's scoring from like the 2-yard line.
Well,
all right. Aiden, shut up.
no, I'm not gonna hate on Saquon actually.
No. I just want to say this first. I just need to rebut to this. I don't know if you're looking at Wayne Gallman's stats. Why don't you look at Saquon's stats in 2018, and you will see that those stats are not remotely close.
They're empty stats, empty numbers. They didn't win anything.
It doesn't matter. Neither the Panthers. We all gush over CMC.
They didn't win anything. And this is
We're talking about winning games, not fantasy. They're winning more games with Gallman.
This is my point. It's very rare.
They're winning more games because Daniel Jones doesn't turn the ball.
I want to hear what Aiden has to say on this.
It's very rare to see a running back that can carry a team. And we are seeing it right now with Dalvin, and we saw it last year with Derrick Henry. But most of the time in this NFL now, you can win a Super Bowl without a star running back. You can. You don't need a star running back, and it's proven time and time again. Dalvin is winning games right now, and Derrick Henry carried the Titans. But at the end of the day, if you got a good committee with a couple solid hard runners, you don't need a star by any means.
Right, but Saquon brings more than being the best back in the league when he's healthy. What he brings to the locker room, those guys rally around him.
I agree.
Huge locker room presence.
Name the last Super Bowl winner that had a star running that's running back was like top 3.
Aiden, it's not it doesn't.
Because they're gonna have to pay. Like, there comes a time where you realize you shouldn't have taken him in the.
There's a
top.
big possibility that he won't be a Giant next season. It is. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't think it'd be the worst move for the Giants if that were to happen.
Let me just say, if the Giants end up moving on from Saquon and then Daniel Jones in the near future, oh my gosh.
Daniel Jones, I hate the Giants, and I have hated them, but I find myself really rooting for the Giants this season. I think Daniel Jones is going to go out and beat the Seahawks, lose beat the Seahawks, lose to the Cardinals, beat who's the other team, Connor?
Browns.
Ravens,
The Browns.
and the
I
Ravens.
think we'll go 2-2 in those games, which will be fine when it comes to that division.
Hot take, they're going to go 0-4. They don't have a chance.
Yeah, they're gonna go on 4. I would put a lot of money.
Just a hater. Just a big hater.
Yep, I agree.
But, I actually wanted to read the Eagles schedule also because that's who the Giants are battling with. They're playing the Browns, the Seahawks, the Packers, the Saints, the Cardinals, the Cowboys, and then the Washington football team.
Dude, they're screwed.
The winner of this division is going to have 5 wins. Okay, I'm just
The Giant, I really, there's no scenario where the Giants don't win because the Eagles don't have the heart to beat the Seahawks. They don't stand a chance. Honestly, the Browns just can't put up points. I guess they 6
They're
points.
relying on their defense. That's what the Browns are doing right now. Myles Garrett is like he could win Defensive Player of the Year. He's looking.
No. Browns defense is solid.
Secondary is looking good. Denzel Ward's a top corner in the league. Nobody even acknowledges that. He looks great back there. I mean, we have to acknowledge the Browns could be.
Yeah, they got a good defense. What does it mean? You're holding these. I mean, I'm sure the other team could score 8 points to beat the Browns.
I mean, we have to see because
I'm not impressed with the Browns by any means.
I'm not impressed with Baker and their offense at all. But they have to produce more. The defense is holding it together for them right now, and they could just be a team who relies on the power run to help get them over the edge right now, and that's what they've been doing.
Just one more thing on the Giants before we move on. That game against the Eagles, the first time around, was very big, which they lost because the Eagles still have that tie, which could be the deciding factor in if you win the division or not. Because if they have the same number of wins, or like close to the same number of wins, then we'll see what happens. But
yeah, no, I definitely agree.
But we're gonna move to that Bills-Cardinals game, guys. That was an insane finish. I don't know what you guys thought, but oh my God, DeAndre Hopkins is clearly the best receiver in football. I don't care what anybody says.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, hate to tell you, fellas. I know social media and all sports networks are all gushing over. Oh, now DeAndre is the undisputed best wide receiver in the league because he caught a Hail Mary. He's like second or third. He's not the best. Catching a Hail Mary doesn't make you the best. It's very annoying to me that that's what makes you the best receiver in the league.
That's definitely.
Right. Who is the best? Jay? Who is the best?
Julio. It's Julio.
I said Julio last week, but when you
now you're like them, and now you want to say
exactly.
DeAndre because he caught a Hail Mary.
If you flip your
Oh,
pick,
Hail Mary.
if you flip your pick over one Hail Mary catch, then you have your.
Because DeAndre Hopkins and Julio Jones and Devontae Adams are all this close. They're separated by barely.
I think we're forgetting about something here. First of all, the Bills won that game. They won that game.
They lost.
No, they won that game. Not figuratively. No, not literally, but figuratively, they won that game. First, that Hail Mary shouldn't have been caught. The Bills
What are you talking about? That game should be caught. A really good player beat out the Bills' really good players.
It doesn't matter though, but the odds of that happening is not going to happen every single game.
If in the NBA a player hits a half-court shot, then technically
That's like saying the Giants lost because David Tyree shouldn't have caught the helmet catch.
All I'm saying is that the Bills played the better game and they should have won that game. And
again, the game was so close.
We're forgetting about Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs should be in the conversation for one of the best wide receivers in the league.
He is one of the best. He's not in that conversation, but he's one.
He's
a
top 5. He's not top 5.
He's tier 2.
Yeah,
He's not even top 10 in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, he's
Look,
top 10. He
I
only
think-
has one game under 4 receptions. He gets the work.
No, I agree. I think the top tier would be Julio, Hopkins, Adams, Tyreek, and
Listen, he hasn't played this year, but Michael Thomas.
Mike Thomas. I think that's the top. I think that's the top tier.
Well, speaking about Michael Thomas, he scared me this year. I don't know what's up with him. I mean, he's punching his teammates in the locker room.
Slant boy.
He can't get open. I mean, I guess it's true that he is a slant boy. I mean, I don't know what else he can do. And is Jameis going to come in there and help Michael Thomas succeed? I want to say that maybe, but after his performances the last few games, I
don't think
They're in trouble. The Saints are in big trouble. I think with depending on how long is Breeze going to be out, like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's 2-3.
They probably go, I don't know, 1-2 maybe in those games, and that'll be enough to put the Bucs over the edge. I think the Bucs could legitimately win this division without beating the Saints once, and I just don't see anything working for the Saints offense with Jameis at quarterback. He turns the ball over. They're in a lot of trouble right now. They really
I think Jameis has like the lowest QB IQ, like football IQ. I just think he has no idea how to play the game.
I like
He's
Jameis.
into these stupid warm-ups. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? I think he's just an all-around idiot. Sorry, Jameis. I do. I think you're garbage, and you're going to bring nothing to the Saints. And they're in trouble. They should be panicking right now.
I don't even think, other than against the Bucs, the Saints offense doesn't look good even with Drew Brees. And you guys can sit here and argue with me all day, but I'm right. I mean, they barely beat the Bears. Their defense is really, really good. But other than the 38 points that they put up against the Bucs, I'm not impressed with Drew. So without Drew, you're right. They're in trouble.
I mean, you're not impressed with Drew. You're not the Steelers. They don't really do it. They're 9-0. They don't do enough. I mean, what do we have to do to impress you?
Neither of those are my Super Bowl picks. So,
Well, I mean, Kansas City is leaps and bounds better than every team in the NFL. I don't think it's close, but I don't think Jameis is going to be much of a drop off from Drew Brees. I don't, because they rely on their defense and their run first offense. I mean, the whole offense runs.
Again, Drew brings much more than just the football.
They are not a run first offense. They're a screen. I mean, Kamara had 14 rushing yards.
He's not even a running back anymore.
You can't put him in the conversation for best running backs in the league when you only put up 14.
He's not a running back anymore.
the reason why the Saints are going to be in trouble is because every single game besides the 2 against the Bucs this season have come down. Every single game they've won has come down to 1-score game, besides the Niners game and the 2 against the Bucs. So that's like 4 other games. But every single game comes down to 1 score, and if it comes down to 1 score, I don't see Jameis getting it done in a clutch situation. He's bound to force a pass. He's bound to throw a pick. Like, he's not. They're in a lot of trouble for sure.
Yeah. Well, say that was a good episode, right?
It was a pretty good episode. Aiden, do you want to talk about the mock draft that you guys did yesterday real quick?
Yeah. Well, not really, because it should be up tonight while we're filming, and this video is not going to be up tomorrow. So this video will probably be up actually tomorrow. So go watch the mock draft. The draft should be a couple hours after I post this video, so we'll see. It should be interesting. But me, Danko, and our buddy Brock, who we might get on this show.
We should definitely have him on soon.
Yeah, he did. I thought he did a really good job. We put that together. So yeah, I thought we did good. Again, we'll all be back for this week. This coming home soon. So the box score may be united in headquarters. Maybe we'll see.
I know you're all looking forward to that.
I just called Cynthia. They're dusting off the old Mike Sands. She's getting the studio back together. So I talked to Cynthia the other day, and we're working on it. So just stay tuned. We're gonna be back in the studio shortly.
Really hard worker, that girl. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. Thanks.